So how much is that? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. 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 Yeah, no, it's not no, it's not a big deal. I get back because we're not ready. Yeah. But we're talking about this really short term, like for ourselves,
Hey, there we go.
I have my own IT support right here.
Okay, awesome sauce. I'm gonna actually head down to the library so that way
Version.
we have quiet. But I gotta add Sarah also.
Okay.
He's not in this private. Established that in the beginning.
I know.
Oh, and we're moving. We're moving.
Bye, I'll see you later. What was that?
I said, and we're moving. We're moving.
We're moving. You're gonna maybe get a little nauseous. Let's see how it goes.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Do you have any questions about tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Right. So Sarah Engel said it's like a half hour in total. 15 minutes here. 15 minutes.
Yeah. So it really depends on what how the group's feeling, what's happening there. You can kind of make it work however you want. You're gonna have two people that you're talking live with. I'll also be there just because I'm hosting the chat.
Okay. What's that?
You hear me? Yeah?
I hear you. You're just not moving.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not moving. I'm now stationary.
Oh, no, you were frozen a minute ago.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on 1 second. I need to get some sources.
Oh, okay. Dr. Seuss.
Any questions? I'm trying to think. Right. So I'm only actually talking to two people, and you.
Yeah.
Apparently
And
you're not a person.
Yeah, I'll be there, and then that is broadcast to YouTube where people can write questions and stuff like that, and then everyone else has the ability to comment and do stuff like that. I'm calling Sarah Engel right now.
Okay.
We're gonna have questions on the YouTube page.
The only people being interactive.
Hey, Sarah.
After. Okay.
I'm good. Are you joining the Google Hangout?
Back. Or these two. Yeah.
I did. I sent you an invite. It's okay. Join, and then I'm hosting the YouTube one right now. Okay? Gotcha. Okay. And who else is moderating? Ariel?
Huh?
Yeah.
Could be.
Okay, so it'll be us. Totally fine. Okay, when you can join the Hangout, I messaged you the YouTube link. Okay? So go send that out. Absolutely. Thank you.
It's true.
Talk to you soon.
Her name is Lilo.
Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard that.
I think I had any other questions. But it should be roughly a half hour, maybe like 40 minutes tops. Yeah.
Should be rough hour, Tzvi?
Yeah. A
You
rough
there?
timeline?
Okay, so one of the other NCS wires is not going to be able to make it. She has a conference call at 7:30, so she may join us, but if not, it's just going to be you and me and Sarah facilitating. So that's totally fine. By me, if it bothers you, then
Man,
you have
don't
your
mind.
last 3 minutes to get out, but whatever works, bro. Cool. If you want to watch yourself on YouTube, you can do that.
That sounds a little confusing.
Watching yourself on YouTube, yes, it's very confusing.
And-
But you will. So that's totally fine. To me, if it bothers you, it lags by about a minute, but that's okay.
I won't notice because
If you put it, wouldn't, but you always just mute it that way. You don't watch yourself. And
I'm not gonna
like
watch.
focus on. Yeah, it would just confuse you. Also, and like it draws your focus.
Right, I was saying I don't want to watch myself because that's weird.
Yes, but those of us who are more self-obsessed like watching ourselves talk. So you know, I go back afterwards and just watch.
And the reason I asked if I could run it more of a class was because I'm used to standing in front of a classroom and having people, say 3 words and then make them tweeze out the rest.
Right. I totally hear that. Interactive is 10 times better than lecture, but like last time we had Rabbi Mike Donovan, he was much more like ready to go straight forward and give lecture. Whatever works. I just like 10, 15 minutes of content, and then after that Q&A.
Wait,
Which
one more
it
time?
makes like 10, 15 minutes of content, which is
Right.
that lecture sort of, or classroom setting, whatever you want, and then Q&A. That's just what you should be prepared for. If it goes a little bit differently, it's fine. But if you're done at a certain point and you are ready to be done, then you tell us. Cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Don't mind me, I'm just gonna play a little ukulele.
What? I want to be play ukulele. Are you kidding me? Do you know the Yeshiva Otniel?
What's that?
You know Yeshiva Otniel?
Yeah, of course.
Right, so I went to Otniel. I don't know how many shiurim I've been to where there wasn't a guitar or something played before shiur started.
Who do I know who was that? Yeah.
There wasn't some Otnielnik sitting in the corner playing a guitar at the time. Yeah.
It's in my hands. I gotta play with it.
I got it. Don't worry.
One other question. Sarah Engel said this was supposed to be at least loosely leadership related.
Yes. If anything Torah related, it must be. But if it doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's leadership related. I was just making sure that was still correct.
Yes, that's definitely correct.
Malky asks, is it for everyone or just regional boys?
No, it's for everyone. We have all kinds of people who follow Google Shiur. Rabbi YY Rubenstein just liked us today on Facebook, which is a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Okay. Just posting all the groups, that way they know.
Absolutely.
Holy crap!
Mm-hmm.
We reached 1.3K people.
What's that?
Or 1.3 thousand. We reached 1.3 thousand people. That's
Oh.
pretty hefty. Pretty solid. Like in the past 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks we've had the events up. It reached 1.3 thousand people. That's solid. There's something out of NCSY.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
West
easy.
Coast. Yeah, very happy with that.
I don't think I've ever sat down to give a shiur before.
Really?
I'm very mobile. I like to move. It's all about.
You'll find your hands are incredible,
Oh
but
yeah,
if you
my hands.
walk around too much,
It's gonna be fun.
yeah, if you carry the computer and walk around too much, you're going to want to kill yourself. I mean, that's not true. That's totally fine, but everyone else is going to want to hurt themselves.
Right. Yeah, I'm not moving the computer. It'll sit here.
Right.
I might get I should do it from here. This is what I should do. I should stand back here.
Hold on, wait, I missed you. Yeah, sure. Stand back there and move and make everyone.
No, I'm gonna sit like a real big adult person sitting and
Right.
teaching. Torah.
Ideally, shuckle. Like the more you shuckle, the more from you are. There's just lots and lots of shuckling.
Yeah, shuckling is a good move. Good point. Mark,
Right.
Mark, you remind me of shuckle. Important.
Oh, Sarah joined. I just discovered a new piece. Oh, that's incredible.
Hi, Sarah.
Like you ever know, like,
Gosh, it's not working.
Did I ever notice what?
Hi.
there. Sarah, you're here twice.
I was wondering about that.
Hi. Does it say that I'm on from two windows? No, I'm a little confused.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try to fix it.
I just
Sorry.
discovered
Okay. Am I on there? Confused.
If I want to quick drive on my account, can I sign out of your account?
Yeah, you can sign here. Zach, are you talking? Because I can't hear you.
I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to let Ariel know that she can join if she's, like, done for her.
Okay, she has to add me on Google Plus so I can invite her, unless one of you guys has her on Google Plus.
Yeah, I don't have her. Okay, so I'll check in with her and see.
Okay. It's hands down the most useless social media, other than you can use Google Plus. Who's that in the background?
That's my resident Persian.
Hi, resident person.
His name is Ariel. He's visiting us from Atlanta.
Oh, cool.
We
Are
like
you
him.
coming on Sunday?
Is he?
I'm sure.
So the problem with Sunday might be that we have to get him to the airport. Sunday night. He has he's king of a whiskey.
Yeah, I know that thing. Alright, his hipster face is too much for me right now.
His hipster face is always too much for me.
It's the glasses. It's too far.
It's the hipster face, but what you're not seeing is his lime green pants.
Oh, that hurts.
Look at his pants.
Oh.
Awesome.
Okay, we're live.
Now?
Yeah, we're live.
Do you have the link to start?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I see it. Sorry, I just got confused as to which links corresponded to what. Okay, wait, hold on.
YouTube link, the one that says YouTube.
Yeah, no, I got it. Okay, fine. Awesome, I see that you posted. Okay. Tzvi, thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Is that ukulele?
Yeah. It's in my living
Awesome.
room. Can't not play it. So I have to practice before I get on TJJ this summer, and I could actually maybe do, Havdalah or something.
Only on your TTJ bus would you guys be like having a ukulele Havdalah.
I mean, how else are you I can't carry a guitar around all the place, it's too hard.
Smart. It's easier to transfer.
Way easier. This big. Yeah. It's a fun instrument. Let's not play it. So I have to practice. How's that song go? There, I just learned how to play Uptown Funk on ukulele.
That's awesome.
But I don't really know the song well enough to play it, is the problem.
What?
I just know
Okay.
the chords, I don't know the song.
Very cool. Molly last year, she tried to teach herself ukulele. Very cool.
It's not so hard, there are only 4 really important chords.
Yeah. I'm super unmusical. I tried piano and did not work.
But
So,
piano's a
I don't
really
really
hard,
know. What?
piano's a really hard instrument. This, ready? This is a C chord right here.
Okay.
This is an
Can't
F.
totally see that. Okay.
This is F.
Better. Yeah. Okay.
This is A.
Okay.
Right. And then G.
Got it. Okay.
That's it. And pretty much every song is that.
It's pretty cool.
Tara, Malky is sitting here right next to me, watching
Hi,
TV, and
Malky.
she's not.
She there?
She's not.
How are you?
She can't hear you because she has headphones in and she's watching TV rather than listening and learning
Okay.
Torah with us.
I'm gonna learn Torah with you in 5 minutes. Sarah, I'm gonna learn Torah with you.
Okay, awesome. Tzvi, do you also play guitar or just ukulele?
No, he just has a recording on going on in the background.
I used to play banjo, but not very well.
That's cool.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if I could play it well. That was also a really hard instrument. I play tarbuka very efficiently and
Okay.
harmonically, but I think I found my calling in ukulele.
That's awesome.
Well, Malky's not listening to me, so I'm bothering her.
I'm just trying to get people to share it on Facebook. Hey,
Yeah,
are you a rabbi?
I have smicha in Saprus, and I have smicha in Shchita, but you do not need to introduce me as rabbi at all.
What?
I said I have smicha, and they start in Shchita and Saprus,
Okay.
and so they call me rabbi at school. I haven't finished like YU smicha yet because I have one test to take. There's no need to call me rabbi. I don't really care.
Okay. Just wondering, cause like I know you Tzvi, but then like all the Google share stuff has been like Rabbi Tzvi, so I'm just like, you're a rabbi? Wasn't sure.
Well, I am a rabbi, and they call me rabbi at school, but I would never introduce myself as such.
Okay. So it's okay if I call you Tzvi?
That's fine with me. I always say it like this: if you're not a 4th grade student of mine, you really don't have to call me rabbi.
Okay. Zach, I think it's just me posting in the remote group. Are those the notifications?
Which one?
I hear like a ding. Is that you, Zach?
That's me. Sorry.
I that you guys, as you're like talking about dinging, I want to close my Facebook so that it doesn't start making crazy noises in the middle.
Yep.
No,
I had that happen to me in class the other day.
it happened to one of
I
my
had my
teachers now.
computer-
Sorry, what?
No, I was just saying, like, I had my computer plugged in, and luckily, you know, fourth graders don't know the sound of, like, the Facebook chat well enough to be like, I know you're on Facebook. But I heard it, and I was so embarrassed, because I didn't even remember having plugged, like, my computer, like, I didn't remember being on Facebook. In my defense, I was doing something on, like, an education Facebook thing, but it wasn't really a good excuse.
It's really funny. That happened to one of my teachers in elementary school. Her like Skype went off in the middle of class, but then like we used it. It was a Hebrew class. We used it as an opportunity to Skype her grandmother and speak to her grandmother in Hebrew and like practice our Hebrew, which is great.
That's
It was a very funny class.
that is really smooth. That's a smooth, you know, improv right there.
Right. The only problem is we went to our next teacher and we asked like the next teacher if we could Skype their grandmother in class, and they were not so happy about it.
Okay, I think Moshe is also going to. Moshe Kaplan's also gonna. What's it called? For this.
Awesome. And I told Ariel that if she wants to join, she totally can, just depending on her call.
Okay, so yeah.
I don't know who Moshe Kaplan is.
Moshe, he's on regional board. He's a good guy.
Oh.
Very yeshivish. You'll hear him, and he already has a Yiddish accent, even though he's born in America.
Where in America?
San Diego. We're the. No offense, Sarah, sorry. No offense, Sarah, but that's where the best teams come from.
That's really who?
That's where the best teams come from.
NorCal?
No, San Diego.
Oh no, I keep hearing NorCal. I'm sorry.
Sarah, it's weird because I keep hearing NorCal also.
Right. I don't know, San Diego and NorCal, they just sound the same to me for some reason.
I just keep hearing Edison, New Jersey.
No one. No one thinks it's good.
No, it's definitely not Edison, New Jersey.
That's where the glow in the dark comes from. Kids come from.
You're talking to NorCal advisors though, like, NorCal's pretty cool.
I mean, sort of.
Hi, Moshe.
Okay. All right. It's 8.
What's that?
It's 8.
Oh, should I start?
Hi, Moshe.
You guys tell me when I should put the uke down and start teaching Torah.
All right. Give
Zach?
it 1 minute.
Zach, you tell me when, and I will put the uke down and teach Torah.
So, how do I, if people ask questions, how do I get to that?
Get the questions by going to the YouTube link, which I've posted like 12 times on Facebook, and from there you so I have the YouTube open right now. I have YouTube open right now, and I muted it so that I don't have to watch the video, and then people ask questions below.
Well, I just muted it, and I see it now.
Right. So, Tzvi, you don't worry about it. You're going to start presenting now.
Right now? Cool. So, I was invited here to give a shiur by one of our favorite NorCal NCSYers, Sarah Engel, and I was told that I should prepare something on leadership. So, before I start, I want to just introduce myself. I am Tzvi Hametz. I live in Edison, New Jersey, and I am now living in sunny Los Angeles, California, teaching at the Maimonides Academy. It's a K-8 school here in Los Angeles. I am also a former and current employee of NCSY. I worked for the New Jersey region from 2008 until 2013. That's how long I was there. I say current also because my wife and I are running a TJJ bus this summer. Just a little intro for the West Coast. When I was working for NCSY in New Jersey, I had the great privilege of working with Rabbi Yaakov Glasser and Rabbi Eitan Katz on the development of a program called the Lead Fellowship. The Lead Fellowship was a program that dealt exclusively with leadership training and Torah that related to leadership. This is actually something I'm really invested in, something I'm really passionate about. A question that happened, that came up a lot, what could you do? Our bookshelves to look at two different leaders who had a very similar trait. And I want to contrast it with another leader and hero of mine, Dr. Seuss, who wrote a book called Yertle the Turtle. Yertle the Turtle, for those of you who don't know, is about a turtle. He's right here. Is a turtle who wants to be a leader, essentially. He wants to be in charge. But he goes about it the wrong way. And I want to say that from Esther to Moshe, rather Moshe to Esther, he missed a big trait that needs exploring, that is often overlooked when we talk about leadership. So I apologize when I look down. I'm looking at my sources because I don't want to miss anything. So if we look at Moshe, the first time he's approached by Hashem to be the leader of the Jewish people, Hashem says, "Hey, Moshe, I want you to go back to Mitzrayim. I want you to talk to Paro, and you're going to lead the Jewish people." And Moshe's reaction, his initial reaction is, "Vayomer Moshe, El Elokim anochi ki elecha, El Paro v'chiyotzi et b'nei Yisrael mitzrayim." He goes, "Who am I?" Moshe goes, "What? Who am I? I should go to Paro?" And it's a weird reaction. You think of Moshe as the greatest leader of the Jewish people, the greatest Navi, and yet his initial reaction to the leadership role is, no, not me. There's got to be somebody else. When Esther Hamalka is approached, Mordechai says, "Esther, you got to go save the Jewish people." Esther goes, "Me? Are you sure? Are you sure about that?" And Mordechai says, "Yeah, if not you, someone else is going to save the Jewish people, but you should, you should be the one." And I think there's a quality and a trait here of humility that we often overlook. Hashem gets angry at Moshe, and only after a very long back and forth does Moshe finally say, okay, relent, I'm done, I'll go. I'm going to read it in English. Moshe said, "My Lord, send whomever you will send." And God was angry with Moshe. He said, "Behold, I know that Aaron, your brother, the Levi, can speak, and he is going out to greet you, and he will see you, and he'll be happy." So Hashem says, "Moshe, I know you don't want to do it, but you're going." It's just not the image you get. It's not what you think of when you think of a leader. A leader is somebody who grabs the flag and runs and stands at the front. Not the person who says, maybe somebody else. So I want to look at a source from Shemot Rabbah that helps to explain it a little, and then quickly afterwards one that I like a little bit better. So in Shemot Rabbah it says, "The rabbi said, 'Do you think that Moshe didn't want to lead? This is not true. Rather, he wanted to give the proper respect to Aaron. Moshe said, before I was appointed, my brother Aaron was the prophet, was the Navi in Egypt for 80 years. Now I'm going to get in on his territory. He'll be upset. He's going to be really angry." And Hashem got very upset with Moshe. So the Ramban offers a different approach. This is the approach that I like better. The Ramban says the correct interpretation, in my opinion, is that Moshe said, please send anyone else because there is no person in the world less qualified than me for this work. Moshe was literally, the Ramban says, literally was saying, it's not me, I'm not the right man to do it. The reason why Moshe kept refusing was because of his great humility. More than any other person on the face of the earth, he didn't see himself becoming great and speaking to the king of Mitzrayim. He really didn't think it was him. Moshe wasn't looking out for his brother. He simply, the Ramban says, couldn't wrap his head around the idea, why me? So, I want to contrast that with an idea. Rav Yosef Karo in the Shulchan Aruch actually discusses an idea that when someone comes to you to lead tefillah, to lead prayer, it says, if one is not the regular chazan, one should gently decline before going up to lead. You should pull back. You should say, no, not me, pick someone else. And I think that's because this idea of humility is so important. I told you guys I'm a teacher at a school. Recently, I was asked to help develop a community and a culture of oneness in some of the grades, and I had suggested the idea of maybe creating a sub-student government. And someone actually said, student government, those never work. They become popularity contests, people become pushy or bossy. That's a terrible plan. And then I realized we tend to do student governments a wrong way. Janusz Korczak was a famed educator in Poland before the Second World War, before the Holocaust, and he believed that student governments were great. To give children the ability to empower and lead themselves was so important. But he had it run a very different way. The ideal government, the ideal leader, understands that they must listen to the people and act on behalf of the people. All too often in student governments, we let it get to our heads. We let it get to the kids' head. Oh, I'm the president, therefore I'm in charge, and you have to do what I say. But that isn't how government should work. Governments are representative of the people, not a dictator who says you're going to do what I said because I'm in charge. So I want to look at another source from a Gemara in Sota. It says Rav Yosef said, remove the word humility after Rabbi died. He says, remove the word humility because there's no one else as humble as Rabbi. But me, I'm still humble. So I had the question, how could the Mishnah state that genuine humility, that humble people no longer existed? And how can Rav Yosef state that, humbleness is gone, but me, I'm still humble? I want to look at two different ideas. Rav Shmuel Bronstein said in a Shavuot essay he wrote a while back, the trait of humility is not to be lowly in one's eyes and be satisfied with one's lowly status. In fact, that is a terrible trait. Rather, the opposite is true. One should know and recognize that all of the positive qualities that one does have are not good enough, and one should have a great desire for further improvement. I think that when most people think about the word humble, this is not the idea that they have. They think about something very, very different. They think about, no, not me, don't talk to me, leave me alone, I'm a nobody. The rabbis say, no, that's not what humbleness is. Being humble is being able to say, I've got more work to do. I'm not the boss, I've got more work to do. Rav Naftali Berlin, the Ha'emek HaDavar, writes on Bamidbar that the real meaning of humility is that one is not concerned with his own honor or disgrace, not because one sees oneself as lowly and thinks that they deserve this disgrace or lack of honor. Rather, the meaning of humility is that while one realizes one's own value, one should act without concern about one's honor. that is what Rav Yosef meant when he said in the Gemara Sota, remove the word humility, because I'm still humble. In fact, it's stating in Gemara Horayot that in all the years that Rabbi served as the leader, Rav Yosef did not even use his level to get a doctor to come to him. He would go out and he would just say, you know what, someone else is in charge, and I'm going to deal with that, and I'm going to go to the doctor, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it all by myself. I think this is the level of humility we should strive for as leaders. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned in NCSY, I learned from Chaim Wialgis and also Rabbi Jonah Lerner, the director of Atlantic Seaboard NCSY. I was once, at a Shabbaton in my early years of NCSY, and I saw Jonah Lerner and this guy Chaim Wialgis setting up chairs. And I went to them, I said, guys, what are you doing? Don't you have more important things to do? Shouldn't there be something else you're doing? And Chaim looked at me, and Jonah stopped and smiled because he knew what Chaim was going to say. And Chaim said, see, you don't understand. Every part of this system is important. It doesn't matter if you're the one standing in the middle of the circle or you're the one who set the circle up. He says, you're a leader, and that role needs to be played. I looked at him and went, oh, that is painfully obvious, and something I had never thought about. I'm not sure how much more time I have, but I think I'm going to start to wrap it up. And I'm going to say that, Ural the turtle was actually, he tried to build on the backs of everyone else. He had no care for what anyone else needed, what anyone else wanted, and he just built himself up and up and up. And that's why at one point somebody stepped out and came Girdle crashing down, and in the end of the story he becomes king of the mud. And I want to contrast that with one midrash about Moshe Rabbeinu. You see that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was acting as a shepherd, before he even became a leader of the Jewish people, the shepherd's job was to get sheep from point A to point B. And there was one sheep that kept wandering off. Every day Moshe would have to go chasing after this guy, have to smack him back into line, and refocus him. And it never worked. The guy would still wander off. Moshe would have to go chasing after this guy, spend all day chasing after this one sheep, and was exhausting most of his time chasing one sheep. And the Midrash says that one day Moshe went, okay, you know what, I'm gonna follow him. I'm not gonna tell him what to do, I'm not gonna refocus him, I'm just gonna watch. And Moshe said, you know what, I'm gonna be mocha my covered, I'm not in charge, I'm gonna follow him. And Moshe followed the sheep. And he found that what was happening was the sheep was just thirsty. It needed a drink. It kept wandering off to find something to drink. And Moshe realized that if he just made that accommodation, if instead of trying to force leadership, he listened, he humbled himself to the people, he had a much easier time. He worked that out. He worked it into his schedule to make sure all the sheep had time to drink. So I'm going to end here on that note that when we're leading, we should always remember who we're leading and what we're leading for. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, NCSY, for hosting this tonight. I understand that there are going to be questions. What are the questions? Yeah?
If people watching want to comment, we can read the comments.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
What's Sarah?
okay.
Otherwise, I could go back to playing ukulele.
I got a question.
My wife is sitting here next to me. She thinks it could be a little intermission. I don't know when the last time you guys had someone teaching Torah with ukulele.
So, Tzvi, I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned the story about, or I think it was a halacha, I'm not sure, about like if someone is asked to like lead tefillah, they should first decline before accepting.
Mhm.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then how does that, like, how do you balance that humility with taking initiative? Because, like, a big part of leadership, I feel like, is putting yourself in situations where you may not be entirely comfortable, and then, putting yourself out there and kind of taking the initiative that if you don't do it, no one else will. Like, how do you balance those two kind of forces?
That's a great question. So I cut short on the Shulchan Aruch statement. The Shulchan Aruch actually says that if one approaches you, meaning if you're offered the leadership position, you should first decline. You should say, are you sure there's not someone else? And then it says, unless it's important, unless someone important, like if the Rav of the shul comes to you and says, hey, lead davening, the Shulchan Aruch says, then do it immediately. If there's a great need, if there's no one else, then you do it immediately. You can't. The Shulchan Aruch even says you shouldn't hesitate. You shouldn't even stay once to refuse. But I think that the idea that one is supposed to refuse is still something you have to bring to leadership.
Okay.
Not that, someone else is going to do it, but if it's a great need, if you say, okay, I know that I can fill a void. There's no one else in the room right now who can daven, but I can daven. You get up, you go do it. But you should remember that, we should be humble about it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Question, Tzvi.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to lean in. You're going to see my whole forehead on the video because I can't hear Moshe very well.
Okay, I'll join you. So you spoke about how one should avoid kavod, right? That you should run from kavod as it pursues you. But isn't it important to have a sense of self-worth and know and be able to accept the honor that you deserve?
So I think Moshe, I think that's a great question. And if we look at what Rav Naftali Berlin said, it wasn't about degrading. It's not that you're supposed to think that you're afar haaretz, you're not like the dust of the land. It's that you need to take your kavod in stride. Meaning, yeah, you might be in charge, and you might even be the exact right person to do it. There was no other person, Hashem said, other than Moshe. Hashem said, Moshe, you are the leader. As much as you try and run from the kavod, Moshe, you're it. It's not happening. You can't get out of this. But I think Moshe still understood. When I'm leading, when I'm going to be in charge, when I'm going to accept this kavod, I have to accept it with the right attitude. I have to know that I'm a leader of people. I'm here to serve their will and not the other way around. And I think that's what it means to run from the kavod, not in a negative way of saying you're a nobody, but rather you're a somebody for many, many people. And they need you more than you need you.
But don't we have an instance with Moshe when he was approached by God to lead the Jewish people? He tried to refuse. And, in that case, it was wrong for him to refuse to lead the Jewish people.
Right, that is 100%, that's 100% what the Ramban says. The Ramban actually is very critical of Moshe. The Ramban says, he shouldn't have been that humble. He was absolutely, he was the one. And you see the Psukim say, he went, he didn't have a choice. He absolutely didn't have a choice. And he had to accept it, and Hashem was angry with him for refusing. He was absolutely, Hashem was not happy. The Pasuk is very clear about that. And he was not supposed to refuse, and yet he did. And the anger was not the same anger Hashem felt towards other people and other things. Hashem understood it. He was angry, but he got it. He said, okay, I get where you're coming from, Moshe.
How, with with the whole humility thing, someone once translated humility to, someone once kind of redefined humility, in some classes and one time, as, recognizing your own strengths in order, and like seeing where you are and like not like undervaluing them. So like, for example, like if you're in some sort of situation, like I don't know, I guess like how do you, like to me, like it still doesn't seem like true like humility, and I guess how does that translate into leadership? Because like if you're, how do you find that balance between like recognizing your strengths but not like overly like, you know, being self-obsessed and being able to totally give of yourself?
So I think the humility comes in, Sarah, exactly what you're saying. Knowing your kochot, knowing that you have strengths, is very important. Knowing that other people also have strengths, and that you might not have the answer to every problem, is part of leadership. I think a huge part of leadership really comes from the idea that your job as a leader is really, I think I had this conversation with Rabbi Eitan Katz from New Jersey and NC once, and Rabbi Yaakov Lasser, that your job is not as a leader to be a manager, but to be a facilitator. A leader's job is to make everybody around them better. They say that, you know, Michael Jordan was one of the greatest basketball players to ever touch a basketball. Yeah, because he was amazing, but because when he got onto the court, he made every player around him better. He knew his kochot, he knew the strength he brought to the game, but he also knew he needed Rodman for the rebounds and Pippen for, you know, his three-point. He knew that there were people around him, and he wasn't afraid to pass the ball. He wasn't afraid to keep some reserve.
Got it. Thank you. Makes a lot more sense.
I'm glad I got to put out some Michael Jordan this year. I'll keep showing you myself on the.
All right. So I have a question
Yeah.
from Michaela Kimmel, in NorCal. How do you personally balance being a Jewish leader and living and being a part of American society where morals and practices differ?
I think that was probably, you said it was Michaela who asked that question?
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the second most asked question when I was running the lead fellowship. The question was essentially, if you want to boil it down, and maybe I'm misreading, so Michaela can yell at me later if I'm not summarizing correctly, but essentially, how are you a Jewish leader in a non-Jewish environment, let's say? How do you impose your Jewish values in a leadership position that isn't necessarily Jewish? Because, you know, we're not all going to be religious leaders. We're not all going to be, you know, leaders in the Jewish world. We could be leaders in other places. And I think the balance comes as a guiding principle, knowing that you could have a leader who is Jewish who's not running a Jewish organization at all. For example, Sharsheret is an organization that deals with breast cancer. This is not a specifically Jewish issue, but they use the guiding principles of Judaism and what it means to take action and help women in a Jewish way, having nothing to do with being Jewish. I mean, they're a Jewish organization, but they're tackling problems that don't just plague the Jewish people. So I think it's just about figuring out how to apply the values you hold dear to something on a broader spectrum.
It's really cool.
Well, I think if that kind of seems like those are our questions on YouTube. Guys, do you have any questions? Sarah, Moshe?
I do have a question.
Okay. Go for it.
You have Jewish leaders in our society, and it's very easy for them to sort of be blamed for a lot of things because they're Jewish, right? And then it becomes a Jewish thing. So I guess how how is one supposed to respond in a forum consisting of different people of different religious backgrounds and observances? How is one supposed to respond to that in a like sort of a good way?
So I'm going to give you an answer. Al regel achat, on one foot. That if I had to think about it, and I'm going to say this answer. I'm saying it. If I had to think more about it, I don't know that I'd give the same answer. But with that caveat in place, and I'm going to keep playing with the contrasting Mordechai or the Purim story and Moshe, because we're in between this Purim and Pesach time. You know, it says when Moshe Rabbeinu died, most of the Jewish people came out to mourn him. And it says that at the end of the Megillah, that Mordechai was loved, you know, by Rov HaYudim, most of the Jews. The reality is, you're not going to please everybody all the time. You have Rov, not Kol. You don't have everybody because some people are just not going to like your message. They're not. And they're not going to see past the fact that there are other problems going on. And your job as a leader, both within the Jewish community and outside the Jewish community, is to make sure you stay on point, you stay on message, and hold strong. Because I think that makes you a stronger leader in the long run. Again, if I had to think about it better, because I think that doesn't really answer your question the way you're asking it. But that's what I'll give you for, you know, on one foot.
See,
Yeah.
how do you recommend someone like practically bring like, okay, humility is great and like the ideas you were sharing are so beautiful, but how practically can like one like really bring humility into their life? Like what are some like practical steps?
I mean, the easiest idea. I gave that analogy of the school government thing. You know, delegating responsibility is one of the most practical ways of sharing, you know, authority. It's one of the easiest ways to do it, is saying, hey, I need your help. You know, you're not on chapter board, you're not on regional board, but I can't do this by myself. Can you help me? I think is one of the easiest ways. The other way I would say is get people's input, and in an honest way. You know, have feedback. You run an event. You don't know how well it went, and that's honest because you're one person and you were the one who worked so hard to create an event. Ask somebody. Bring yourself to the people you're catering to and say, hey, how do you think that went? How could we do it better? You'll find that you're getting input from on the ground, which is priceless information, and that you're going to gather more people into your flock because they're going to know we have a leader who cares about us, who isn't just caring about their program, their message, their whatever. I've got a leader who cares about me and cares about what content I want to see.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Okay.
Zach, are you saying things? Because I think you might still be muted.
No one can hear you.
Well, that was awkward.
There we go.
Everyone hear me? Yeah?
Yep.
I want to say thank you to Rabbi Tzvi Hametz. Thank you very, very much for a great piece about leadership. I know I definitely attached to certain pieces, especially the last part about the Rove, the part before the last part about the Rove. I hold it as a very true thing. One of the parts that I find most powerful is that you have to do whatever works best for the Rove, not only in your opinion, but opposite what the Rove thinks as well. Not opposite in contrast, but working with the Rove. That's something I find very powerful about leadership. Thank you to our two facilitators, Sarah Engel and Moshe Kaplan. Of course, as anyone who's watching knows, the broadcast will be available for a few weeks just by going to the same YouTube link that's posted. But thank you, and until next time, have a great week, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.